You got to remember back then we had no money for marketing, like zero. And so everything we did, we had to do it really noisy. Business is really easy, find out what the customer wants and give it to them. Find out where the customer is and show them. It's not hard. Yeah, execution might be a bit harder, but it's not hard.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of the Make It Happen show, where it's time for you to make it happen. In these implementation sessions, we're joined by an industry expert who will take you through in detail how to make it happen in your business. These are full of implementable actions to get your pens ready, take notes, and be ready to apply these to your business. Let's get into it.
You guys are in for such an amazing day today. Now, it is my absolute privilege to introduce Janine Allis, founder of Boost Juice, executive director of Retail Zoo. Janine and I are dear friends. She is an amazing human being. She is an incredible entrepreneur. Janine started Boost Juice in a home in 2000. She achieved 95% brand awareness within the first 5 years and now has 550 plus stores in 15 countries. She's also created Retail Zoo, which is a bit of a investment company, if you like, in 2007 to grow young food retail brands, Boost Juice. Janine now has 50 million customers worldwide. She's recognized by BW as one of the top 15 people who have changed the way business is done in the last 25 years. Janine and I caught up last week to have a discussion about how she built such an iconic brand, but also how she transitioned that brand into the digital landscape to achieve the success that she since has. Tune in, guys. This one's really special.
Janine Allis, welcome to Momentum.
Thanks for having me. I got my cup of tea. I'm right.
I really want to focus on how you built the brand of not only Boost Juice, but all the brands under Retail Zoo, and how you've acquired and built such a meaningful community and audience of incredibly happy people. Boost Juice, for example, is an iconic Australian brand. We saw recently that it achieved an incredible 95% brand awareness in its first 5 years. What were the key strategies to drive that level of awareness for Boost in the first 5 years?
Yeah, I think you got to remember back then we had no money for marketing, like zero. And so everything we did, we had to do it really noisy. So the first thing we said is we looked at our business and said, what have we got that's different? And we thought, okay, at the time, we're talking 2000, where there was really nothing you could get outside of the home that was healthy. So we went, okay, we've got health and let's have fun. Let's do retailing differently. So we started to do those type of things. The other thing they had was a female founder. So again, we went, all right, how do we use that? My background's PR. So how do we use that in a PR sense to get someone to talk about the brand and how we're excited and how we're, going to, rule the world. And the other thing we had was, my husband's incredible mind with regard to consumers and marketing, and he was in radio at the time. So we would do things like get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and take wheat shots to all the radio stations, and then we'd send smoothies into journalists, and things that actually don't cost much. But gee, guess what? If you do it 100 times and you get one, that's one article that starts a momentum. And I think it gets down to, meat in the grinder. You've got to keep putting meat in the grinder and eventually come out. And sometimes you think nothing's working, but it will if you keep at it. You do things noisy. You try and be really noisy.
One of the things that I love about the Boost brand is you guys have gone, really when you started, there wasn't the Facebooks and the Instagrams of the world. And so it was, taking shots into radio stations and stuff like that. But the brand has transitioned really well into digital. Today, as we said in the introduction, you guys have 1.2 million followers on social. In your Vibe Club, which is where people subscribe with an email address, you've got 1.8 million members. What have been some of the strategies to translate that brand equity into a meaningful digital strategy?
Well, the reality is we are truly customer-led. Yeah. So if you're truly customer-led, you always are going, where are our customers? We're always asking the questions. So, you're right. Before social media, it was very much, okay, our customers, being that age group they were outdoor. So then that's bus stops, that's taxis, that's anything to do with outdoor and radio. So we're very heavy in radio. As internet, social media, smartphones, probably smartphones was the biggest change more than anything else. Yep. Smartphones came into play. That's where the customers were. So you move and you adapt and go where the customers go. So for us, it was being okay about trying things and failing. It was okay about, doing some crazy things and going, oh, we'll put that in the cupboard and hopefully that never sees a day of light of day again. But just keeping at it. But I think most importantly, understanding where the customers are and really, really, targeting them where they are and what they're interested in, and always being current with what they're interested in, so then we can, pinpoint them. At the end of the day, it's quite simple. Business is really easy. Find out what the customer wants and give it to them. Find out where the customer is and show them. It's not hard. Execution might be a bit harder, but it's not hard.
I love that. One of the things we're talking about today is that there's a lot of things in business that don't change, like being customer-centric and going where they are. And the things that do change, in particular in today's world, is the channel. And so, it used to be bus stops and taxis and radio, and now there might be a bit of that in the blend, but now it's Facebook and Instagram and email. And so the channels are something that continue to evolve and that, we all need to stay abreast of. What I love about what you guys have done with your digital strategy is there's a real community engagement to what you do. As I said earlier, 1.2 million followers on social, 1.8 in the Vibe Club. What have you done at Boost Juice to nurture and foster long-term relationships with consumer?
I think every single time you have an interaction with of your customer or the consumer is your opportunity to make sure that they come back. So if you really, businesses are built one customer at a time. And so every time we interact with them, we try very hard to make sure they have an extraordinary experience. And if we don't achieve that, then every single store in our network says, we have a guarantee. If you don't like it, we'll fix it. And so it's an invitation for them to talk to us and tell us when we get it wrong. And then it's also when they tell us what we get it wrong, what we do about it. So that's the behind the scenes. I think the other thing is just making sure that we're listening to the customers, having your advisory boards to make sure that you're hearing what they're doing, what they're changing and what fad they want to follow and what flavour profile they want. It's just really giving the customers. And then to your point with social media, having the data to be able to understand if the customers have been there that week, that month, that year, how often they come, and then to surprise and delight them with, whether it's offers or whatever that is. But every business, 80% of their revenue comes from 20% of their customers.
Yeah.
And so it's making sure you love that 20%. Some businesses go, we've got the 20%, they're fine, don't need to worry about them. Let's get the 80%, but it's wrong. Love the 20% and hopefully that 20% will grow or come more often. So it's just really that philosophy.
I absolutely love that.
Hi there, Tim jumping in here quickly to say if you're enjoying this episode, our team at The Entourage has plenty more for you to sink your teeth into. We not only publish a new episode every week, plus the full video on YouTube, we also have heaps of resources and tools on our website available to help you build and scale an impactful business. You can find the link to all of this in our About section. Also, so you never miss any of the insights and strategies from our guests, don't forget to subscribe to learn more each week. Now, let's get back to the show.
The bricks and mortar businesses, which largely your brands are bricks and mortar businesses, right? It's just that you've done digital really well. For other bricks and mortar businesses that want to lean into digital to a greater degree, where should they start and what should they be doing?
Well, the first thing that happened is COVID happened. Right? And what COVID did was, those bricks and mortars, let's shut them for a little while, shall we? We don't think you've done enough focus on digital. Let's shut all those businesses and let's see how you can focus on digital. I think what COVID has done is enabled businesses or not enabled them to help them survive. They have actually had to pivot from the normal way of doing business to an online business. And look, most bricks and mortar businesses, in fairness, actually have an online element, but they may not have put the focus in on it as much as they actually are now. So it's actually, COVID has probably fast-tracked many companies' strategy into going into digital. And so I think that's actually what's pushed a lot of businesses into digital more.
I couldn't agree more with that. And that's been our experience with our Elevate and Accelerate members, is that, as you say, even bricks and mortar businesses, they've always had a toe in digital strategy. And we've had a bunch of members that for years have been thinking, our bread and butter is the bricks and mortar store, but we really like the scalability that digital offers. And then COVID came along and it forced that shift that they kind of wanted to make for years and years and years. As we come out of this, what should business owners be doing as in Victoria, as the state reopens, as the country reopens, as the economy climbs back to normal? What can business owners do to get ahead of that and take advantage of it?
I think the reality is we've got to now stop and actually go into proactive and look at ways of actually controlling the businesses and controlling the situation instead of the situation controlling us.
Yeah.
Sit down and go, what did we learn? What are the things that we've learned from this we can take into the future? What are the things we can drop off? What is our team that we've got? Who are our people to take us into this new era? What does this business look like? So, because I really think that because it's been the biggest upheaval in business's history, and now's the time to stop, reset, and go again. And the only way to do that is actually to pause and breathe. Because if you just go, oh, we're open, let's go again, then what you'll find is you'll pretty much go, all this great gains that you potentially have got, all these learnings kind of get put up into the bottom drawer and forgotten. So, which would be a shame, because anything, the negatives that happens to us, we really need to make sure that we get positives out of it. And so we've gone through the biggest negative experience that we possibly could have. So let's make sure there's positives out of it.
You've been in business for a long time now. What's been your biggest learning through this period?
I think what I've loved is the agility and the fact that that's that feeling of people put all their feelings aside and everyone's on the right page and the same page to go, how do we go forward with this? So I think that's been really good. The learnings have been that the worst fear that can happen sometimes isn't that bad.
Yeah.
If I had said, if we were talking this time last year, and I would have said, okay, I went to spoke to Nostradamus, and he said that there's going to be a pandemic next year and it's going to close down the countries all over the world, we would be sitting here thinking about some sort of Armageddon movie where, Bruce Willis has to come out and save us. Right? So we would have just gone, oh my God, there's no way that we would cope with this. It would just implode. So the worst thing, that would be the worst thing that could happen to us, Jack, So suddenly we are in this situation where the worst thing has happened. None of us had this on the risk profile. No business has had global pandemic on their risk form. But here we are, and we'll be fine.
Janine, from a franchising perspective, Boost now has 550 stores in 14 regions. How have you developed the brand and the customer experience to be so consistent, regardless of where they are in Australia or what country they are on the globe?
Look, it's I think technology's played a major part in that. So we've got systems like training programs online. We have ways of monitoring whether the training programs are completed. We have a care factor to get it right. But, we're also not so arrogant in overseas markets to think that we have all the answers too. So we very much listen to the local operators to make sure that we are, meeting the needs of their consumers, not just assuming that we're in Australia, we have all the answers, we know what works, off you go. We actually do, tweak every single country. You have to actually be adaptable to every single environment and not be arrogant.
Janine, you are sitting atop an empire with 4 brands, 50 million customers. The 4 brands being Boost Juice, Betty's Burgers, Solstice and Sivo Espresso. What is the next, this is probably a crazy question, what does the next 12 months look like for you guys?
Look, I'm actually, there's a few exciting projects that I've got on. I'm also on the board of the Olivia Newton-John Foundation, who we're really looking at trying to solve some of the challenges that are faced daily in cancer. Obviously, I'm trying to still work out what I want to be when I grow up. I need to get better at surfing. I need to be a bit more courageous getting into those waves. I've got there's a few media things that are popping up that I might be look at. So, and there's always, something that is interesting. I don't think I could ever retire. I don't think, the people sort of think, oh, when are you stopping work? I mean, I've never seen work as a negative. I see work as an exciting journey for me to continue to learn, because that's the purpose of life, is to continue to learn. And I think that's what's great about the entourage, is that, people can, pick things up. But even through any conversation that either I have with you or anyone else, you get things thrown at you and you either pick them up, put them in your pocket and ideas, or, you discard them. That's good. That's fine. But no, I have no idea, Jack.
So true. Thank you so much for taking the time. Every time we have a discussion, your wisdom and your commercial sense, and even, your sense for how we navigate challenging times is up there with the absolute best I've seen. So that deeply appreciate you taking the time to do this, Janine. So very good to talk to you, and I hope we'll talk again soon.
No worries. My pleasure. Good to see you again.
Thanks, Janine.
Thanks for tuning in to the Make It Happen show, brought to you by our team at The Entourage, Australia's leading business coaching and training provider. We're on a mission to empower entrepreneurs by giving them everything they need to build great businesses and live meaningful lives. If you got something out of this episode, picked up a great takeaway, or just want to say hi, don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes or let us know at The Entourage Official on all social platforms. We'd love to hear from you. Catch you in the next episode with our next guest right here. Bye for now.